Hello my sweeties and welcome back to my channel. If you don't already know me, my name is Celise and thank you for joining my spooky lil family. In today's video, we are talking about the rule of Jenny Penn. Let's break down this viejito exploitation. Let's get into the video.
Hey Spooky.
Hello.
It's been a little while. I know you've been working on some other stuff that I'm not invited to work on. But yeah, it's been a while. How are you?
I'm good.
You're not gonna ask me about how I'm doing. I'm
How
good.
are you?
Don't even ask. It's
Yeah,
all right.
no, how are you? You didn't give me a chance because you're always talking.
I'm okay. A lot of big things have been going on this week.
Wow. Other than the release of this movie?
Yeah, whatever. I guess the movie. But the new Nintendo Switch. They just announced the new Nintendo Switch. The Nintendo Switch 2. Have you heard of it?
The Nintendo Switch?
The Nintendo Switch 2. Have you heard of that one? They just announced it on Wednesday.
Yeah. I heard it's really expensive though. It's like $450 or something.
Seriously? That's like 8.6 million shillings. That's insane. What? How could they... That's ridiculous. Why would they charge that much? Wasn't the old one way cheaper?
Shillings? What?
Yeah, shillings. Sometimes I get caught up in inflation. You know, it's been a couple hundred years since I was in the game.
Yeah,
you know?
I forget that you too are a viejito and should have been in this viejito exploitation film.
Well, you know, that's why I keep up with the consoles and what the kids are doing. You know, you got to stay young. That's what keeps you out of the home, you know, and I guess that's kind of related to what we're talking about today. What was this one about?
Directed by James Ashcroft, starring Jeffrey Rush and John Lithgow, The Rule of Jenny Penn follows a former judge who is confined to a secluded rest home and trapped within his stroke-ridden body. He must stop an elderly psychopath who employs a child's puppet to abuse the home's residents with deadly consequences. Okay, so The Rule of Jenny Penn I've been really wanting to see for a while. This film actually did do its premiere, I believe, at Fantastic Fest last year, and I was very jealous seeing all of my friends log this movie because I love John Lithgow. So I was like, girl, I'm ready for that. I haven't really seen him in a horror movie. Like, the closest for me is him in season 4 of Dexter, which, chef's kiss, you know?
Best season.
The best season! The best season in the world. Period. So I'm really excited to finally talk about this movie. I'm so happy it got a release on Shudder. Finally. I feel like I've been waiting so long because when this had its run at Fantastic Fest, it was like September of last year. That was so long ago. So long ago. So I know that we have all had discussions of hagsploitation. The best hagsploitation example I can think of that, if you don't know what this means, Whatever Happened to Baby Jane. This film is kind of like that, but for old men. So, wow, my cat's taking a shit. Okay, so before we get into the story, I have to talk about the director really quick because I am very unfamiliar with this person. They directed they only directed this movie and another movie called Dark. No, I'm sorry. Coming Home in the Dark. I don't know, I've never heard of that. So essentially like a pretty fresh director, I would say.
You remember Coming Home in the Dark, right?
No.
It's the one where they're it's dark out, they're going home.
Well, let's move on. We actually don't have a word, to my knowledge, for old mensploitation. So I took it upon myself to call it viejito exploitation because I love Whatever Happened to Baby Jane and the performances in that movie are so amazing and over the top and extra. We have to talk about our performances in this movie because they are the ones that really carry. So let's start with our king John Lithgow first as Dave Creeley.
It's crazy to say that he didn't completely steal the show, though. but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But he was so good in this. Oh, he's such a captivating actor.
He really is. He's so great. I have to say, it's interesting. I've actually met him in real life and he was very, very nice. It's interesting how he looks like this sweet, like, old man, but also there is something about him that's kind of intimidating and scary. Not to mention, also in this movie, he really doesn't look like himself very much. He has these very bright blue eye contacts, and he is wearing these kind of fake, kind of crazy looking teeth. But ultimately, it does work with the fact that the character himself is so weird and unhinged. So I thought that was an interesting choice. I think it works really well. He was amazing. I kind of was like, oh, he's probably going to steal the show from me because he's one of my favorite actors. But Jeffrey Rush and him were like on the same level the whole time. And obviously Jeffrey Rush is an icon. I thought he was really good. I think the whole story is really interesting because I went into this thinking like, all right, I'm in it for like a crazy time. Let's go. Let's be crazy. And the thing is that this movie was a lot more sad and depressing than I thought it would be.
Yeah, this is not a feel-good movie whatsoever.
It's not a feel-good movie. There's obviously like pretty clear commentary on this sort of retirement home. Obviously, like we see that most of the older people that are staying here are kind of just like forgotten, and all of the doctors and nurses don't really listen to them. And that had to have been probably the saddest thing and pretty much the scariest thing for me, because I found myself, and we indeed did watch this off of an adult gummy.
Yeah, really horrible vibe.
Yeah, I found myself feeling scared with the idea of aging and being older and like what's going to happen to me, and like how come nobody is listening to them, and like just is like, you just need to rest, and like suddenly they're no longer like people, and I hated that. So let's talk about the story, because actually the story is kind of confusing. It's really interesting because we're watching the character of Dave Creeley kind of just being a menace in this place, and nothing is really ever explained as to why.
Yeah, honestly, I think that's kind of the best part of it. I mean, you know, without giving any major spoilers away, because we are going to be spoiling a little bit, I guess.
Yeah.
His character is just so upsetting because, yeah, what he's doing is really shitty, but it's really not even the worst thing that's happening to our lead. Like, there's this kind of overwhelming sense of dread in the whole movie, where, you know, like, even if they beat John Lithgow's character, it's still the end. You know, there's no, like, happy ending here. There's no winning. Especially when you find out a little bit more about Jeffrey Rush's character's kind of, like, condition. It's just so bleak. Major bummer to watch off an edible.
It is. Yeah. It's a very upsetting movie. I'm actually quite surprised that a lot of people so far are not vibing or loving this movie. I find that interesting. Though I will say that I think people are going in with like a different expectation for this movie, because there is like this doll on the cover, and I think people think, what is this, a possession movie? Like, I don't know what people think.
I mean, the actual thing that the doll represents, in my opinion, is way scarier than a possession.
Yeah?
Yeah, hell yeah. I don't want to give that part away because it's a major
No,
story
I
beat,
actually
but
do agree. The script for this movie is really good. There's actually... So I did say that we don't really get an explanation for why Dave Creeley is doing this, and that still is true. But there is a great monologue that Dave does say to Jeffrey Rush's character, and it's such a great moment in the movie because it's so intense. John Lithgow is like doing Oscar-winning things in this scene. And it was a really like disturbing monologue. Because it was like, oh, you have like never experienced joy.
Both characters represent two parts of aging that are scary, right?
Yeah.
The fear of like accomplishing everything and then it being over at the height of your accomplishments, and then like never accomplishing anything and it being over before you have a chance to do anything with yourself. And
it's true. And honestly, it's interesting because the character of Dave Creeley is like objectively terrible. But in the moment of hearing this monologue and like seeing, is juxtaposition the right word?
The juxtaposition. Yeah.
I can't say this word. Forget it. I'm too bimbo for that. I'm not gonna. I've failed the SATs. Anyway.
You can't fail the SATs. You like get points for just putting your name down.
I know, but like my score was embarrassing. Anyways, seeing the contrast between the two characters is really interesting because I don't want to say fuck, because even though this older man, this elder is committing elder abuse in this place, it's wild that during the monologue you begin to kind of feel bad for him, even though he is awful. Like everything he's doing is awful, especially everything he does to the character of Tony. Awful.
I mean, it's really terrible because when you watch a possession movie, right, or some kind of ghost movie or anything, you kind of go, oh wow, the story is big, right? Like this is space and time, or this creature is attacking humanity or something, even when you watch like slashers. But with this, like, once you figure out what's actually going on, it almost makes it seem worse for our lead, because it's like, oh, he's just stuck here. Like the rest of the world is still going on like normal, and the horror is only happening in this building and like only to him. And there's something so upsetting and scary about that, especially because nobody gives a shit and nobody's listening to him.
Nobody. Actually, I found the whole dynamic between them and the nurses to be like one of the most frustrating things I've ever seen.
It kind of almost reminds me in a way of like Rosemary's Baby, kind of that anxiety, you know?
And like they kind of gaslight them. It's like so ridiculous. Like he is trying to tell them something is going on, and they like gaslight him into thinking like, you know, you had a nightmare. Sometimes you can have hallucinations. And like, it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Can you actually listen to people? Like, do you care about your job? No.
It's so crazy. I mean, I think that even though it is a horror movie, you should go into it expecting like a drama thriller.
Yeah, I was going to say this film is very much about the horrors of real life and aging and real scary things that like people around us, your grandparents, like everybody, like experience.
Yeah, and you will too one day. That's the worst part about it.
That's the worst part. That's what I was feeling, bestie. I was like, what's gonna happen to me?
I mean, maybe not me specifically, because I luckily skated past that. The decapitation.
Yeah, you
was
live
the best
here
thing.
with the best, so.
Yeah, I agree. So what are you giving this one, Spooky?
I am going to be giving The Rule of Jenny Penn 4 loves out of 5. I think this is a great little film. Honestly, I'm sure I will watch it again, and I'm sure that my rating will go up. Because I really loved it. I actually think this is a really strong contender into being one of my favorites of the year. I actually think this is really my speed. I'm somebody that I love this kind of shit. This is my kind of shit. So far, this is really up there for me. Performances are crazy, and you know we love a good performance here on this channel. That's what we yap about all day.
All right, what am I giving this one? I think I'm gonna give this one. It's tough because there's really nothing wrong with this movie. Like this is essentially like it is in and of itself perfect as its own film. Like there's nothing I probably would change about it. But I don't think it's a 5. So I'm also gonna give this one 4 loves out of 5. It's really good. Great performances. Very interesting camera work. It looks great. Script is great. You can tell like it was a very inspired piece.
Yes.
I agree with you. Like basically beat for beat. Like this is one of my tops of the year already. Really great. I loved it.
That's so exciting.
Go watch it. Go watch something with a little bit of meaning. Put Subway Surfer underneath, you know? Watch the Family Guy clips on the side and just watch the damn movie, you know?
Watch this for the cute viejitos. Celebrate them. We need more of it. That's it.
Hell yeah.
Love it. Alright, you guys. That is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe as it really helps me a lot. And be sure to click that little notification bell to be up to date every single time I upload. And let me know in the comments if you plan on watching The Rule of Jenny Penn. If you've seen it already, I'd love to talk about it. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.